everybody! I am recording this in 32 degrees Celsius. Hang on, what is that in Fahrenheit? So 90 degrees Fahrenheit temperature. So got a bit of a glow, but I felt it was the perfect time to tell you about my top 4 summer dresses. For the last 2 years, I have been on the pursuit, love that word, for finding my go-to throw-on summer dresses. Those ones when it's hot and you don't want things touching your body, or you want to look put together but it's just one piece. You throw it on, it's just floating fabric around you. And I've been searching and I found some now, which I'm really pleased about. Going to continue looking, but there's also some really exciting news that I can tell you as part of this, so make sure you stick around. So, as always, I'd love to hear yours. Please leave below your comments on what your favourite go-tos are. And if you want to see how I style them, this video here shows how I style myself for work and home in the hot weather. Somebody said to me they hadn't had any yet. Well, whether you get it where you live or you go away or whatever, and whatever variation of hot is to you, it's just advice. And if not, you can just watch me twirling around with my earrings and my jewellery and my outfits. So, I picked 4 because these are the 4 that I really feel are my makes over and over again. And as part of this, I'm going to get you to help me to decide on some more fabric for which ones to make some more with. So I have some notes, I have the patterns, because as part of this I am going to tell you what size etc I've made. So my 4, let's start with number 1, which was a free pattern. I've looked recently, I think it is free if you sign up, but I can't tell if you have to sign up to a paid thing or whether it's still free just by signing up and having an account. So this is the Seamwork Benning. It was their free pattern for a while, so I'm not 100% sure on what level of freeness it is now, but maybe you have it already sitting in your pattern collection and you just haven't done anything with it yet. So I did that, I downloaded it when it was free and then it's just hung around, and I finally this summer was like, no, I need to make it. So the first thing I'm going to say about this is what size I made. So size starts at a 00, I made a 6. Someone said to me that they struggled with the sizing, so I will put here on the screen my measurements. My bust is a 36, my waist fluctuates between a 31 and a 32 inch, and my hip is a 41 inch. I have a short distance from shoulder to like bust apex, which means I can have real problems with V. And I have then an average length torso after that. So where the waist sits on me is where it would sit on an average length torso. So hopefully that helps with that. So I decided to make the 6 because having read all the instructions and seen, and I didn't want it too oversized, but I was also aware that sometimes I just want things to cinch in a little bit. I want a bit of shape. So I actually just self-drafted and put into the side some tie belts on one of them. So the back is just cut on the fold, and this has this scoop here. So you could definitely scoop that more if you want a lower back. The front is also cut on the fold. The V is a little low for me, which is not a surprise because many V's on many tops are. I have shared in another video, which I'll put here, how to raise that up. So I did use my technique to raise that up because it was just on the cusp. The first one I made was just on the cusp of being just not where I'm comfortable. So I raised up the V. So if you're like me and you have a shorter distance here, you may well want to raise up that V just a couple of centimetres or even a centimetre, just so you don't feel like you're showing your bra. Maybe you want to show your bra, maybe you go for it, especially if you've got a nice bra on. And also it depends on where your bust sort of sits. Mine doesn't sit as low as it used to because it had a breast reduction, so it sits a bit higher now. It is a drop shoulder sleeve with that sort of shape, so you don't have to worry about having narrow shoulders. It does have bust darts at the front to give a bit of shaping. And so you make the front bodice. It is a facing which is a bit flippy outy, as we like to say. So I actually, although I did the understitching, it still flips out. So I stitched in the ditch on the shoulders, and with one of the fabrics it was still flipping out, so I actually stitched a top stitch on. I have to say it's not my favourite technique, so I am thinking in my third one of binding it. I have seen a tutorial of how you can hack a facing into the sleeve, into the arm cycle, so that you can stop it doing that. So I am going to play with that, because there is nothing worse than looking and the back bit having flipped out. It just really annoys me. So I've been doing some research on that. So when it gets to the top tier of the dress, which is very long, and then the lower sort of gathering is like a smaller part, I didn't actually make any adjustments to that, so it sits really long on me, and you can see in the picture here it's right down to my ankle, which I kind of like in a summer dress. If you want it shorter, you will need to decide whether you shorten the main skirt part or off the ruffle because of the proportions. I am 5'2" for context, so for most people you won't need to do that, but if you're less than 5'2", you will need to think. I would probably take it off the bottom of the main skirt, just bring it up, because then you still get that proportion of skirt and ruffle. Now I've made it twice, and I don't quite think the ruffle proportions are right, because when you put the main skirt on and then you gather the ruffle to put it on, there's barely any gather by the time you've had to keep like shuffling it out to get all the way around the skirt. I think the skirt has a bit too much fullness and the ruffle then doesn't have enough. So when I made my second one, I actually added a bit of length to the bottom ruffle to give me a bit more gathering, because it just looked a bit odd. Or you could just take a bit in off the skirt because there's plenty on there, so it's something to be mindful of. I did think maybe I'd cut it wrong the first time, but when I did it the second time, because I always assume I'm just not being accurate, when I did it the second time it happened again, so it's just not quite right, that gathering proportions. There are inseam pockets with nice clear straightforward instructions. You could leave them out if you don't want an inseam pocket. I left them out in my first one, put them in my second one. So I feel it is a perfect, quick, sew up, throw on, easy to tweak dress. Would I pay full price for it? It's a good question. I'm going to come back to that, and I'm also going to come back to what fabric I'm going to make it in for my third one. Let's talk about my second summer sundress, and that is the one I'm wearing, which is the Sauvie sundress by Sew House 7. Now I've made this twice as well. This is a version I made last summer in a duvet cover I bought from a charity shop. The front and back are like the coordinating sides of the duvet, and then I did the ruffle all the way around in one, so it has got that sort of lower ruffle like the benning. If you don't like that on a skirt, you could just leave that off and lengthen the skirt or stop it at the bottom of the skirt. If you're not that kind of person, you could easily do that. So it's just those things to consider. It's an easy hack that you could do. The Sauvie sundress has an option to put an elastic waist in. I tried it on a third one and I really struggled because this one doesn't have a facing. This has a lovely lining that all the way round that goes down to sort of your high waist, which means you don't have any of that flipping out of facing, and it finishes the arms nicely, and there's bust darts. So I really like that about it, because I much prefer that to a flippy out facing, but in the hot weather it might feel a bit much. You could always crop it a bit shorter inside so it's just under your bust. I think if I remember rightly, I lengthened it to make sure it got over my bust, because the last thing you want is it cutting halfway. So do check the length of that inner piece. I had to shorten the shoulders. This one I shortened and you can see it sits just right. my second one, which was a double gauze, which was perfect for a long travelling day with a lot of sitting in a car in 38-degree temperatures, where I didn't want my legs sticking to the car seat, and when I got out and was walking I just felt swooshy and refreshed. But because of the nature of double gauze, the straps have stretched out a bit, so I'm actually going to just do that thing where you fold them in and stitch it for a bit. So obviously in a stable cotton like this it's absolutely fine, but in a double gauze it's gone a bit stretchy. So many made up words today. I have to say, when I made the third one I was quite excited about having the elastic waist. Didn't like it. It didn't really work for me because of the challenge of the lining. I know other people have made it and they've liked it. I just felt that actually I just used a spare bit of this fabric and just made a little tie waist instead, because really on a hot day I don't want to feel elastic against my waist honestly either. So you could even trap the ties into the sides because there are side seams, and I have to say I prefer a trapped in side tie because you can just tie it around the back so there's no bulk at the front, just to cinch it in a smidge. You could just leave them hanging down or tie them super light, or like this one I just made a separate tie belt afterwards. But really for me, hot weather, I don't want cinching in, don't want anything around my waist honestly. So it just wasn't right for me, but I know I've seen lovely ones that other people have made, so if you're looking for something with a bit more shape it does have that option. Let's talk about my next one. My next one is the First Raise dress by the Weekend Sewist, and that is a monthly membership where each month there's a pattern. Sarah provides discounts to shops where you can buy the resources. She does a sew along, there's lots of extra instructions. I'm part of like a vlogger group where I'm like testing and helping with the pattern, so you may well have seen the dress that I'm putting up here. This is a really lovely, as Sarah said, she designed it to be when you get that first summery sunny day and you want that just throw on dress. She's designed it so that you don't have to have a placket down the front, you can even have a faux placket down the front. The version I made, I was going to stitch down and have a faux placket, but actually I put poppers on in a rotation of red, orange and yellow because I thought it went really well with the fabric, and I actually didn't stitch the placket down because the poppers held it in place. I could unpopper them but I don't need to because it goes over my head, but it gives that movement of a placket, because if it's not stitched down it means it just moves differently, so I like that. I went for shirring at the back and it worked first time, but I would have done that as a test piece if not. It is quite low in the back, so I think for my second one I'm going to raise it a bit. Sarah leaves finishing the straps to quite towards the end so that you can adjust them to the right height for yourself. There's an elastic channel around the top. Now you might be sitting there thinking, I'm not in the Weekend Sewist, Sam, so why are you telling me about the pattern? Well, the good news is that the membership reopens on the 20th of July and it will reopen on the 20th of each month, and when you join you get access to the whole back catalogue. So even if you don't join till the 20th of July and there's a new pattern coming, you can go back and get the First Raise dress, you can rewatch all of the videos. You might think after a month, I wanted the First Raise dress, I'm done, or you might actually love it and stay for more. So it's never too late to join the Weekend Sewist because you will always have access to everything that's available. So I made the skirt length, the length it was meant to be. It was drafted, I believe, for 5'5" or 5'6", so I like that length on me. I don't like anything really shorter than that. I made it in a viscose I've had for years. Hang on. Now let me tell you the size I made. There are lots of instructions as part of the membership about how to do full bust adjustments, all of that sort of thing. So Sarah is a very knowledgeable lady, and there's a Facebook group where you can ask for help as well. So I made size 1, 2, 3, 4. So that was number 4. So it's just numbers from 1 upwards. So I made size number 4. There is a bust dart at the front. These are the markings for the strap placement, and very, very clear instructions. I know, because I helped pattern test it. And you've got a front bodice that you can make with a placket or without. Back bodice which is sheared, so that allows that movement and also makes fitting easier. And then you've got a gathered skirt, the lovely Christine of Gemini Stitches. She actually did pleats on the front folds, so there's a hack for how to do that as well if you don't want gathers. So it's just one of those, like Sarah dreamed it would be, a throw on easy breezy summer dress. I found it a really lovely straightforward make, and I like the fact that the shearing or the elastic channels that you can do at the back give it a bit of shaping without it feeling like tight round your waist, which is always a dream. So at the end we're going to talk about what fabric I'm going to make a second one in. So that's number 3. So let's talk about number 4. Now number 4 comes with some very exciting news. For some time I have spoken to you about the Marilla Walker nautilus top and dress that you could hack from it, and understandably people are like, oh, I can't get it, she stopped doing them. Well, thank you to whoever the lovely lady was. I'm just having a look. Let me find her. Some lovely person messaged me on Instagram. Yes, so a lovely lady called Anna, thank you, let me know that Marilla Walker had put some of her patterns, including the nautilus, in her art website. Link below, showing on screen right now. Absolutely delighted. So glad she's done that because I love her patterns. So she would like to acknowledge that it's only possible to release these because of her loyal customers over the years. So they're free. And she says she's not going to update any online media or be offering pattern support. I'm there for you if you want some advice. She says she's not going to be making any other patterns available from her back catalogue, but she hopes the ones are on offer. So she has the Belmanite dress, which is on my dream list, and I know that Teresa of Lost My Thread has made that. The Anning shirt dress, which looks lovely. The Jurassic coat, which looks like a raglan. The Nautilus top, but there is pockets and a hack to make it into a dress, which is in there. And that, so the Nautilus goes from a bust 80 to 157 centimetres. Firstly, I love it as a top. Picture appearing here. And I love it as a dress. I just put a rectangle on and did pockets. Again, I integrated a tie waist into one of them. Oh my goodness, I'm so glad I can share this with you because it is one of my top go-tos. And if I compared this to the Benning, the original reason I made and downloaded the Benning pattern was to find a pattern to share with you all that was a replacement for the fact that the Nautilus wasn't available. And ta-da, it is available. But I thought I would still review the Nautilus because I've made it and you might have it or you might want it. So, Marilla Walker Nautilus top, it's a drop shoulder, has amazing pattern instructions to slide over to make a placket, or you can make it scoop neck. It has a lovely pleated sleeve you can add on, and as I say, I do it with a rectangle, and I made it with the placket on the front and then just attach the skirt, and I've made it twice. My second one was a rainbow checkered seersucker from Pigeon Wishes, and I actually trapped rickrack into the sleeves and into the hem so you could just see the edge of the rickrack and put gorgeous green buttons on it. I have to raise up the V slightly on the Nautilus as well. What a surprise. But it is a lovely pattern. It is free, and let's see the versions that you can get. There's the top in A0 and A4, instructions and a bonus Nautilus pocket. If you are a member, I actually downloaded all the bonus bits. There was like bonus instructions and things, and I put that in the resources for members to see those bonus bits that were publicly available as well. So now I'm stuck with, do I make a third Benning or do I make a Nautilus? Let me show you the fabric and then we can decide. Okay, let's talk fabric. So I want to make either another Benning or a Nautilus dress. and I want to make another first raise. So let's start with the first raise fabric, because I'm not sure on this one, so you can help me choose. So I have this lovely chambray, so it's nice and thin and lightweight with this sort of almost like paintbrush effect on it. Lovely Sarah grabbed this for me from Barry's, and so I thought that would make quite a nice first raise dress. Or I picked up this like viscous crepe from So Much More, I think she's still got some. Or this lovely viscose from First for Fabrics, which makes me think of Matisse. Or a classic block print cotton. Now I love these, they get softer the more they're washed. So which one do you think would make a great first raise dress? Let me know. And I am thinking of possibly, might not have enough of fabric of that, but with this fabric and this one, might lengthen it a bit longer so it's more like, I love feeling like Margot Leadbetter from The Good Life. If you don't know who she is, just Google her. I'll put a picture here. So let me know, which of these four should I make my first raise dress in? And then I know that I want to use this fabric, but it's which pattern shall I use? So I have the white and the pink colourway. Whoops, nearly got my lipstick on it there. Of these strawberry print double gauzes. I am loving double gauze in this weather, so I thought I could do a bit of coordinating here. So like the bottom frill or something could be in this, and the rest of this, because I've got more of the pink one than the white one, but I thought they'd work really nicely together. So I was thinking either the nautilus dress or the benning. So let me know which you think I should make and how do you think I should combine the two. Let me know your thoughts, because I'd really like to put these two together to make a lovely cool summer dress that I can just swish around in. I am thinking of having a little hack, shortening the sleeves a smidge on it, just because it's warm, and maybe scooping down the back a bit, because don't forget it is Pattern Hackathon month, so just a few hacks and suddenly you've made it your own. I just wanted to say thank you everybody for the love of the prom dress that I made my stepdaughter Tilly. It was so kind what you said. I really enjoyed the fact that she was comfortable with me sharing with you the make. And one of her friends, I want to give a little shout out to Sophia, because Sophia is also 16 and she bought herself, I think, now sorry Sophia if I get this wrong, she either bought a second-hand dress or it was a second-hand dress that she inherited from someone in her home. And she made her own underskirt and did tweaks to it. So loving seeing the younger sewists coming through. Gonna put a picture in here of Sophia with Tilly and her friends, because they all look so fantastic in their outfits, and it was such a joy to see them all, from buying, some of them buying second-hand ones, and it just filled my heart to see the different ways that everybody sort of was just themselves. It was really nice. So well done Sophia, and big shout out to you. So let me know in the comments which one for that and which of those four fabrics. So don't forget, I'd love to know what are your go-to summer dresses, if you get a summer or just a dress that you like, and also what's your go-to fabric choice as well, because this is the way we help inspire each other, is sharing lots of suggestions. Don't forget, you might enjoy this video, which is me putting my outfits together so you can see my mermaids living their destiny and being worn. And I will catch you again soon. Bye!